Welcome, everybody, to Creative Retail Talks. I'm so excited this morning to be talking to Crafty Chica, Kathy Cano-Murillo. We're going to have a great discussion this morning. Hi, this is Clint O'Rear. Thanks for joining the Creative Retail Talks podcast today, where we will be discussing the latest in life, business, and retail. I want to talk about some of the principles that you have followed in your life, kind of life principles and success principles. And I don't know if you've seen it, you may not have, but I do a post on LinkedIn every Monday morning. It's called Monday Mindset Reset. Mm-hmm. And the whole purpose behind that, I started doing that with my team, and someone said, you should start putting that out there more. So I did. And just to kind of share every Monday, a lot of times as you're starting a new week, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got so much to do. And how am I going to get it all done? And so I'm a big believer in mindset, and I think Monday mornings, a lot of times, it's a great time to hit the reset button. So that's kind of what was behind that. So I love principles of success and sayings that just create some of those ideas, and you've got some great ones. Let's start with gospel of glitter. I love that phrase. Tell me what that means to you and how you share the gospel of glitter.
That is just about being positive, not toxic positivity where you ignore the issue at hand, but just making space for seeing a successful outcome and recognizing that there can be a successful outcome. A lot of times we jump to the worst case scenario and then we say, but hopefully it will be XYZ. I always feel like spreading the gospel of glitter is just giving and sharing and letting people know that you're listening and just offering something positive.
Yeah.
And even when things are going bad in your own life, a lot of times the reset is to go do something nice for someone else. Stop making it all about you and go do something nice for someone else, and then it just kind of balances things out.
That's so great. And I love how you tie it to glitter, because who can not have joy when you think about glitter, right?
I know some people hate it. That's why I'm like, okay, it's metaphorical. Like it could just be like that one little fleck of light that you need to catch your eye, either to distract from the craziness or to remind you of something else. So a one little fleck of light can really go a long way.
Yeah. And like you said, it can go both ways. So I guess another part of that metaphor is there's always joy in the mess, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That's great. Well, I love that phrase. So I know another one of your keys to success has been persistence. So what has powered you to keep going and persist and achieve the level of success you've achieved? Because I know it hasn't been easy. I'm sure there's been roadblocks. So talk to me a little bit about what has driven your persistence.
Well, the main thing is just being consistent and knowing the end goal. What do I want out of this? Mm-hmm. Why do I want it? Why is this important to me? It took me a while to get to the root of that, because if you're just doing it all to show off or to impress someone, or productive procrastination on working on other projects, you need to be self-aware of those things. So everything that I go into, I think of the end goal that I want and why I want it. Like writing those novels that had nothing to do with crafting, totally out of my comfort zone. It took time away from my family. I wasn't good at it at the beginning. I'm better now, but I really had to go back to say, why do I want this? Why am I working through this? And I just kept seeing my book on the shelf that said new in fiction. And I'm like, I want to do this because it's something a dream that I've had since grade school. And I know I can do it. And I just had, once I broke that down, that would give me the motivation. Recently, my daughter and I, we have this thing now where we say, do it for our future self. And so everything that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, I think of future Kathy saying, Oh my God, thank you for doing that yesterday. Today is a lot easier because, yesterday Kathy made a to-do list for me to follow today. So I do a lot of that thinking of my future self
That's a
and,
great principle.
when things are hard, I see future Kathy and she's like, come meet me here. We're here. We did it. You just got to match up, follow the rope to get to me. Keep going. And that has really helped me a lot.
That is
And
so powerful, Kathy. I've never heard anyone quite put it that way. That is so powerful.
oh, thank you. And yeah, that has really helped a lot. And another thing is like the law of attraction. And a lot of this are people I follow on TikTok that have been so helpful. It's not so, this one guy was saying it's not so much law of attraction, it's a law of belief. Like what you believe you can have for yourself, that you have to do that. And therefore by taking action on that because you believe in it, that's what helps you reach your goal. It doesn't just fall in your lap.
Yeah.
It's that you believe it enough to put in the effort to make it happen. And another thing that I do, that I started in quarantine, it was a really popular project I did, was I made this little folded mini book, and every day I made one for each week. And then before I went to bed, I would write down 3 or 4 things that went right that day.
Yes.
Because it was so weird just being at home and feeling like you're in a space station. And I'm like, I need to feel like I'm accomplishing things. And so it would be like, oh, I made an awesome dinner tonight. And oh, I tripped, but I didn't fall. Thank God. Just whatever fun things. And
Yeah.
it felt really good to go to bed every night saying, you know what, these are the things that went right today.
Yeah.
And then I'm a strong believer of to-do list, starting it in January with the big vision board. And then every month I map it out. And then, every Sunday night I prep for the week. And I'm like, what do I want to finish this week? What will get me to one step closer to what I need? And then every night, I have my to-do list for the morning. It saves so much time. If I don't have a to-do list, I'm lost. I am just, I waste a lot of time.
Okay, Kathy, you are so creative. How in the world are you also so organized? That's amazing.
Well, I have to stay organized to make future Kathy work.
Yeah. So
So
that's where that principle of the future Kathy comes in.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm doing it
That's
for
good.
her. And, one step that I made, I started working with a success coach a couple years ago. And he said, if you could bring one person on your team, who would it be? If money wasn't an issue, if nothing, was an issue. And I said, it would be a brand manager he said, write down the job description for that brand manager. So I wrote down all the things and I ended up hiring a brand manager like last November. And that has really helped me scale up my business because she specializes in contracts. She specializes in the influencer industry. I was speaking in San Antonio and she drove from Louisiana to San Antonio to see my event. And I just knew it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So that really, just letting go of that fear of thinking, oh, I'm not ready, and just saying, let's try this, let's do this.
Yeah.
So that was a big shift for me of going from thinking I'm not ready to saying, you know what, let's do this.
Yeah. Well,
And
and I'll tell you what, Kathy, there's another principle in here that I'm hearing. I've heard it. There's kind of a couple of places. One is seeing the book on the bookshelf. And the other is what your coach led you through about kind of visualizing your next hire to push your business forward. So that power of visualization, it sounds like you use that quite a bit as well.
yes, definitely. And the thing with the hiring, it was even beyond visualizing. Like I literally sat down and wrote down all the things I would have help with.
Yeah.
And then when we got together, like she just, all of it came together. It just is so wild. It's, science, the
Yeah.
way things work like that. And,
So
one
cool.
other big shift that helped a lot was the whole money situation,
Mm-hmm.
because growing up as a creative and being married to a creative, we come from, again, a traditional Mexican family. Like, no, you can't make a living off of glitter and glue. Like, what? You got kids? Are you crazy? And just having always that little voice of feeling like I shouldn't be doing this, and I should be, working for something more realistic. And, it's therefore it would feel like we were always living the struggle life of like, no, I can't hire anyone. I don't have the money to hire someone. And then a friend of mine was speaking at a finance conference, and she invited me along, and sitting with all of these multi-millionaire business women telling their stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not about squeezing $1 out of a dime. It's about turning $1 into $100.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And that was the biggest game changer ever, because instead of saying, okay, I need at least this much to pay this bill, now I say, oh my gosh, I can do this and I can triple this. And now it's just a different way of looking at things and getting out of that struggle mindset, the prison we put ourselves in. And as soon as I let go of that, and my husband, he realized it too, and we're like, really being a creative, we're the best people to make money because we have so many ideas.
Yeah.
And it's just following through on them. So you take it one idea at a time and follow through with it. That's probably where creative people get stuck, is the following through part, because I'm sure a lot of us have, attention deficit disorder at some point, because we get distracted so easily. And I think I have some of that too, because that's why I really have to stick to my to-do list.
Yeah.
So I get easily distracted.
Yeah.
And so it is just shifting that mindset to staying on track with things and looking at from a prosperity angle rather than one of lack.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of the abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Man, Kathy, that principle you just mentioned of turning $1 into 100 instead of thinking about how to preserve that dollar, that is a great principle.
Yes. And believing you can do it and making a plan for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I research with our store in Phoenix. Whenever I go to, buy some product in there, I research it. I research the market. I look at the retail price. I look at, okay, if I had to put this on sale, what would the sale price be? Like, you really have to get in there and be serious about it. There's no winging it. If you want to be a successful business person, you have to do the homework and put that into it. You can't just wing it.
Yeah, definitely. You got to have a plan, right? And
yes.
And like you said, work it every day and every week with a plan.
Yes. Set those goals.
Yeah, definitely. So another thing another one of your philosophies that I love is the philosophy of evolving versus reinventing. So what does it mean to evolve, and how is that different than reinventing?
Well, I always would see when they'd say like, oh, Madonna, she's the master of reinvention, and women in their 50s, let's reinvent ourselves. And I'm in my 50s now, and I'm like, I don't want to reinvent myself, because I love all the journeys that I've been on and all the experiences, but I do want to evolve. I always want to continue to evolve. And I feel like with reinvention, it's kind of saying, the stuff you did in the past isn't good anymore, or you have to top the last thing. And yes, we should strive to be better, but it is a way to evolve, and that way we can still be proud of all the things that we've done in the past, because they play a role into where we are right now that allows us to go to the next level.
Definitely.
So I don't want to reinvent anything. I freshen it up, evolving it. Yes. I love that angle of it.
Evolving and growing while still honoring the past, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, I'll tell you what, for the last thing to talk about here, I want to talk about your podcast, Mucho Motivation, and I love that name. And I've heard you also say that your mission is to promote positivity through creativity. So as we wrap up, tell me a little bit about your podcast and kind of how you use that tied to your mission of promoting positivity through creativity, and also just maybe expand on that a little bit. You have so many great key phrases, Kathy, but tell us about promoting positivity through creativity.
Well, I like to have a meaningful purpose in everything that I do. And I think that by using my skill set and my gift of creativity, what am I doing it for? Like, I don't want it to be just a project that someone makes and they can throw away. But let's put some meaning behind it, even if it's recycling or honoring a loved one who passed away, or making a memory book, or using a phrase that empowers you to paint on a mug. Like, I want everything to have some kind of meaning or purpose on it that goes deeper than just the craft itself. And people yearn for that. People don't know they need that until they start doing it, or until you tell them. And it's just different intention. And you can even go, like, at my store, our top selling class are these painted cactus lamps, like the painted Christmas tree lamps, the ceramic ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we live in Arizona. Like, this is our Christmas tree, is this cactus. Like, let's honor Arizona and like make the cactus our Christmas tree. And people love it. They're like, oh my God, I want a cactus Christmas tree. So they'll come in the store and paint it. So just adding a story to everything, like, or telling the story behind it. And I love those classes because they turn into storytelling, where people tell their story of Arizona and why they moved here, or their family's history here. And we all become friends and connect together. So it's just having a deeper meaning into it.
Yeah, that's so good. And so real quick, tell me about your blog. Not your blog, your podcast. I know your blog, you're doing so much with. Tell me what you're doing with your podcast.
So my podcast is, I believe that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the time with the most. So you got to choose those 5 people wisely. You don't just see who they are and follow along. So the podcasts of Mucho Motivation are people who motivate me and inspire me, and they have taken the time to inspire other people through the podcast. So it's more than 5 people. It's just people who I come in contact with. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a great thing to share. People would love to hear that. And my success coach is on there too, Harry Lopez. And his episode was very popular. And it was about imposter syndrome. But I use the podcast. Yeah, he's really good. And I use the podcast as a way for people to get motivated to do the things that they want to do.
Yeah. Well, that is so awesome. And man, Kathy, you have blessed us today by spending some time with us. You've made me better just for the conversation we've had today.
Aww,
so thank you so much. And you've proven that you truly are a crafty version of 𝗧𝗔𝗞𝗘𝗔𝗪, meeting the Hallmark Channel with a dash of Oprah optimism.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
So, Kathy, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. And I'm sure our paths will cross again one of these days. Who knows if we'll ever have a trade show again, right? In person.
I know. I hope we do. Better. I hope we do.
We will. No, we will for sure. And I look forward to that day. But thanks so much for visiting with me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Kathy, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation on the Creative Retail Talks podcast today. Be sure to visit our show notes page for more information on today's show. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, reach out to me at clint@creativeretailtalks.com. Creative Retail Talks is all one word. That email address will also be in the show notes. Hope you have a great day.